So I'll call this meeting to order. Before we get started, let's introduce everyone on this meeting. I'm Sandy Brock, and when I call your name, please confirm that you can hear me. I'll start with the commissioners. Travis.
Present.
Thank you. Emily. She is muted at the moment, so I'll just go to Jonathan. Oh, now she's
Can
on.
you not hear me?
Yep, I can hear you now. Okay.
Present, sorry.
Thank you. And then Jonathan.
Present.
All right, thank you. Okay. So we'll go through staff now. Leah is our agent,
Present.
and Jan,
Present.
assistant. Thank you very much. We'll go through the speakers for 8 Millennium Drive. If you happen to be here, please unmute and just indicate that you are here, and that so we can hear you and you can hear us. For 8 Millennium Drive, Angela Gassick. I don't see her on the list.
She's trying to log on. She just emailed me that she's having an issue.
Okay.
I just sent her the general link off of the conservation webpage.
Okay, if she gets on through that, then we'll be able to elevate her up to a panelist as opposed to just an attendee. So is she on the attendee list?
She is. I just promoted her.
Okay, great. Okay, Angela, just checking on making sure everyone can hear us and we can hear you. Can you hear us okay? And you are muted.
There you go.
Thank you.
Okay, you got more than one speaker or something going on there, but we can hear you. So thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, Brian Marchetti.
No, he's not joining tonight. I'm here, Patrick.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. I was guessing that, but I don't want to make assumptions. For 62 Wesson Street, Norm Hill.
I'm here.
Thanks, Norm. And then is Wayne Andrews also here? Okay, I don't see Wayne here. We'll keep going. For 4 Hudson Ave, we just heard Norm, so that should be okay. And then the other two listed is Tom and Pam Hill.
Yep, I'm here.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, this open meeting of the Conservation Commission is being conducted remotely via Zoom pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order, as most recently extended on March 29th, 2023. Access information for the public has been provided on the town website. This meeting is being recorded. Please remember to mute your phone or computer when you are not speaking. If you are using the dial-in by telephone feature, you can mute yourself by pressing *6. As chair, I will introduce each speaker on the agenda. Please note that you will not have screen sharing privileges. However, staff can display any visuals per your cue. After speakers conclude their remarks, I will invite each commissioner to provide any comments, questions, or motions. After the commissioners have spoken, I will allow public comment to be spoken by participants. Participants must use the raise hand feature by clicking on the hand icon at the bottom right of the Zoom menu bar to indicate they would like to speak. If you're using a dial in by telephone feature, please press *9 to raise your hand and *6 to unmute you when you are called upon. Participants who raise their hand will be recognized one at a time and will be promoted to speak. Public comments will be followed by commission and applicant responses. Finally, each vote taken will be conducted by a roll call vote. As a reminder, the commission is concerned with state and town wetlands and stormwater regulations. Concerns outside this purview need to be addressed to appropriate boards. For example, road conditions must be addressed with the select board and traffic concerns must be addressed with the planning board. All right, 7:07. Any particular order, Leah? Because we have a few people here. They're all continuances, I see.
Correct. Nothing is a time certain tonight.
Okay. So just start at the top and go down.
Sure.
Okay. Works for me. And there's nothing else, no one here for any of the businesses or
We
Anything
hardly
else?
even have anything else except minutes, so nope.
Okay, sounds good. All right. Pursuant to the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, the Grafton Stormwater Management Bylaw, the Grafton Wetlands Protection Bylaw, Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing to act upon a notice of intent application for Grafton Stormwater Bylaw permit, application for Grafton Wetlands Bylaw permit for 8 Millennium Drive. Who's here to speak to that? You have the floor.
Good evening. Patrick McCarty, McCarty Engineering here on behalf of 8 Millennium Drive LLC. Angela and Jeff Gassick, the applicants, are also here with me this evening. This, as you just read, this is a continued hearing. We were here a couple weeks ago to initially present our project to you, which is the construction of a 30,000 square foot industrial building with associated site improvements on the currently undeveloped parcel of land at the end of Millennium Drive. A little bit of an update from our last meeting. We did receive 2 final peer review letters from Graves Engineering dated September 11th. One was addressed to the planning board and one was addressed to the commission. We're pleased to report that on the planning board one, all of our all of Graves's comments were addressed. Some related to hydrology and stormwater management. So Graves issued a letter that all of those had been satisfactorily addressed. And then they also issued a letter on the 11th to the commission that they stated they had no issues relative to compliance with stormwater regulations, no issues relative to compliance with the wetland regulations, and no general engineering comments. So that's the kind of letter we like to receive as the design engineer for the project. We're also happy to report that the planning board voted last Monday evening. Even though I was honestly in a state of panic at the meeting, being a Leominster resident.
Oh,
So
geez.
as I was presenting last Monday, my phone was buzzing incessantly in my pocket with all of the utter destruction that we have going on up here. But the good news of that night was that the planning board did vote to issue the special permit and site plan approval. That decision has been filed with the clerk as of the 12th, and that can be picked up with a certificate of no appeal, assuming no appeal is issued on October 2nd. So with that time frame in mind, the applicant and their lender have tentatively scheduled a closing date for Friday, October the 6th. So we're hopeful that the commission will support the project this evening and issue an order of conditions with any special conditions you deem appropriate so that we can meet that closing deadline. The intention would be to immediately following the bank closing to handle all the pre-construction items such as preparing the stormwater pollution prevention plan, filing for coverage under the construction general permit, DEP signage, pre-construction site walks, and then erosion control and tree clearing, and on to general site preparation and construction. I think really the issue that we were discussing last week was whether or not the front triangle of land would become a bioretention cell as opposed to the more conventional drainage system that we have proposed. I didn't hear from anyone on the commission side or the land use office side. I did check in last week on that, and as of the end of last week, we hadn't heard anything. So I'm
So
hoping.
as far as, looking to decentralizing using, low impact design or green infrastructure, obviously, we feel it's kind of part of our mandate to kind of recommend that because of the benefits that you get it. And as the main requirement is to protect the wetlands, that's it. I went back through a couple of the regulations. Even though the new proposed stormwater regulations are going to make it mandatory, it is not mandatory at this point. I would call kind of what you call standard engineering is actually dated and outdated engineering as far as that goes, but that's just an opinion. So we can just discuss that and move on. So yes, we also received the Graves review letter and everything has been satisfied. Leah, there's no other outstanding comments or outstanding things that we need to get other than going through special conditions. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Let's see here. Leah, do you want to go through some of the special conditions and then we can briefly discuss those?
Sure. So I have, the limit of clearing on the plans shall be treated as the limit of disturbance. We will receive a copy of the SWIP when it's available. This one I actually wanted to have you guys decide on whether or not you feel the need to hold a bond. on this
I would
one.
ask, is there anything, what is the planning board requiring?
No bond from the planning board.
And just to be specific, the only bond that we're looking for, we're not looking for anything outrageous. We just want to know if you get into it and you clear the site and the site is unstable, we would like a bond just to stabilize it. That's it. It's not to finish anything or do anything else. It's purely just what we have for jurisdiction, which is just to make sure that we don't end up with a bare site, because that has happened previously. So I'll leave it to the applicant to respond.
Sure, if I could offer my 2 cents on that. So this project is bank financed. And one of the hats that I wear is I work for 11 local banks that when they grant commercial loans, they send the plans and permits to me for review to make sure that the project is properly permitted and properly estimated before they advance the loan. And then they also hire me to go out monthly to do inspections to verify that the work is in place. All of that is meant to protect the collateral interest that the bank has in the property. So in this instance, assuming we start the project and fail, which we've been in business for 42 years, so I highly doubt that would happen. But the bank would have funds in place that they control, along with 5% retainage on all the funds that are advanced. So if I submit a bill for 100,000, they pay me 95,000, and they hold that 5,000 until a certificate of occupancy is issued by the Grafton Building Department. So I think in this instance where it's bank financed, the protection that you're looking for is already provided through that financing structure. So if
Okay.
I were to fail and walk away, the bank would hire another company to come in and complete the project to maintain their equity position. They wouldn't simply walk away having money advanced to acquire the site, to do the permitting, to do the building design, and to do whatever has been accomplished as of that date at the site itself.
Okay. I understand that, yeah, that particular arrangement. So let me do a quick run around the Conservation Commission just to see what they have, if people have any kind of questions on this or comment on it. So Travis, you happen to be up in front of me. So do you, this idea of, Leah bringing up just a bond for basically, erosion control in the sense of stabilizing the site. We've done it on other projects, mostly subdivisions, but do you have any kind of comments for this particular one based on what the applicant just indicated as far as the financing for the site?
Yeah, I don't have any knowledge of what the applicant just proposed. My preference would be a bond if it's all the same. That protects our interests. I'm just not familiar with the applicant's arrangement, so my preference would be a bond.
Okay.
And I don't have any other questions on the application.
Okay, great.
Madam
you.
Chair, could I add one more
Sure.
comment? So actually, we just we had a project down in Middleborough where the planning board required a $20,000 stabilization bond for similar reasons. And we had an incredibly difficult time. I mean, bond companies write performance and payment bonds all the time. So if the contractor fails, you use the bond to complete the project. They also write drain layer bonds all the time for when you're doing work in the street, for utility connections so that the road gets properly repaired if we didn't properly repair the trench after installing water or sewer. The bond that you're speaking to was a little bit outside of the box for the bonding companies.
We haven't had any previous problems with this, and whether, and of course, you understand as far as the bond goes, you can go to a bond company or you can just give the cash. I do not know how we've done it how the applicants have done it in the past, but typically it has not been a huge issue, probably because it's not a large sum, because we're not, you look at the square footage and you kind of, the effort is just to stabilize it. It's not to do anything else. It's not to build anything. In fact, it's just to stabilize it.
Well,
So,
okay. What
yeah.
kind of dollar amount would you be thinking?
So typically what we do is we'll ask the applicant to do an estimate of what it would cost if the site, as you shown for the limit of disturbance, that if for whatever reason, you had to stabilize it, what the estimate would be. And so it's depending upon how many, whatever assumptions as far as if it's, think worst case, you cleared the site, you've done earth moving, but then you stop for whatever reason. We're not looking to return it to its previous state or anything else. We're looking for it to be, generally graded out and then stabilized with some sort of, probably erosion control and just some sort of vegetative cover. And that can be a lot of, it's basically seeding it so that if it takes 2 years for someone else to do something, we're not having erosion problems. That's what we're looking for. We're not looking to do a whole lot of other things. We're looking to do is stabilize the site so that if someone kind of walks away, we have something that we can have someone go out, have a contractor with this, with a reasonable amount of money to do the minimum amount that would take to stabilize the site. So that's what we're looking for. We're not restoring anything. We're not putting any trees back. It's just stabilization. So.
Understood. Okay.
So, just kind of keeping going around, Jonathan, any kind of comments or questions on the bond? I just think that's probably the one sticking point we'll have throughout the whole conditions.
No. I think that the bond sounds reasonable, especially if it's just to stabilize and not to restore it or whatever.
Yeah,
back to
that's
its
it.
former. I think that's a reasonable thing. Again, not knowing the timeline of what the applicant put forward. If that does stop, how long does the bank take to get into gear?
Right.
They may sell the property, or who knows what they might do. We don't have them unless they're contractually obligated to put this site back or put a stabilization in place as part of that agreement. Then I wouldn't be comfortable not doing the bond. I think the bond is the right thing to do.
Okay. And all right. No, that sounds good. And Emily?
I agree on the bond. No additional questions. Thank you.
Okay. So, the only thing is I understand what you're talking about the bank. We're not privy to or have any rights to anything that is being funded through the bank. If they had an explicit requirement in the note that said that, then you could give that to us. Otherwise, we're looking, in Leah, what we've done in the past is just to ask the applicant to come up with the estimate, or do we ask Graves?
The applicant comes up with an estimate and I run that by Graves. And
Okay,
then
it's a
when
pretty, yeah.
the amount is agreed upon, then they put it in place with the mechanism of their choosing.
Right. Yeah. So that's kind of would be the condition. And if there's something explicitly written like that in the documents and the loan documents, I think that's something that you could produce. Otherwise, it's whether it's a cash bond or whether it is through a bonding company. We're not trying to hold up anything. We're just trying to protect, um, people around you in the wetlands and so forth from anything if it goes the wrong way. Unfortunately, we have done this before where we had to use it, and that's our experience. So
I understand fully. So just to reiterate what the chair just said, so if the condition could read that a stabilization bond be provided, or language be provided in the bank note that they would stabilize the site if work stopped for a period of 3 months or greater, something like that. I'm throwing out an idea.
Yeah, no, it's a reasonable time where all of a sudden, for whatever reason, work has stopped and it's at a standstill. But like you said, it's not 3 days. It's not 3 weeks, but
Yeah.
it's usually really obvious when someone leaves and abandons a project, I guess.
Yeah,
is-
so work stopped for 3 months, accepting winter conditions, right? If we get 10 feet of snow, we're gonna stop working until springtime.
Correct. No, there's a very big difference between
Yep.
yeah, it's the, it's more than just stopping work. It's actually
Abandonment of the
having
project.
you got it. You got it.
Perfect. Yeah, so if we could just be flexible in that language that either or would satisfy, then we'd be okay with that.
Sandy, could I
Yep.
ask a quick question?
Sure.
So when you've had to use the bond in the past for stabilization, the commission says the bond needs to be implemented, right? To stabilize a site. If it's the bank, would the commission be able to tell the bank to go out and stabilize the site?
So that's what I mean is if it's written into the loan documents that they're doing it, then, so that's kind of the tricky part.
Yeah.
If it's somehow like an automatic thing that they do and it's part of a contract, then that's one thing. But I understand what you're saying. I think a lot of it comes down to what the estimate comes back as.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
If
Leah,
if
go ahead.
may, if it is written in, so if Patrick, if you're pointing at the fact that you'd like to write it in there, it should specifically be run by, yeah, Leah, most likely, to make
Yes.
sure that it's correct in terms of, again, what
Yeah.
what Travis pointed out, which is the execution of it. So if it's written in there, but they don't execute it for 2 years, then the language is really not valuable to us. It needs to be, my assertion of them having it in there is that we would have some control over it, or at least say in what the wording would be.
Yep,
Okay.
understood.
All right, Leah, can we keep going on this one?
Sure. I have 3 more. One is any future disturbance proposed beyond that permitted here shall be reviewed by the commission. If the stormwater basin is to be utilized for temporary stormwater collection during construction, it shall not be fully excavated until this temporary use is over. And then, no disturb signage to be installed adjacent to wetland flags A6 to A17, A22 to 23, and 28 to 29. It's just the spots where the no disturb basically touches like the side of the driveway or close, and off behind the basin, I think, is the other spot.
And are you familiar with the type of signs that is our standard sign?
Yeah, I think we did that at the subdivision, right, off Appaloosa.
Yeah, it's a little
I think
4x4
that was the
sign.
same
Yeah.
condition, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Couple of those
Alright.
are off our property, 28 and 29.
You'd be putting it on the no disturb line.
Okay,
So those are the special conditions, our initial review. I'll just go around the commission really quickly to see if anyone else has any other proposed conditions. Also at this time, I would invite any of the public, if you have any comments or questions, to raise your hand, and we'll get to you as soon as we go through the commission the last time about any other special conditions. So Travis, any other special conditions for this project?
Nope, nothing else for me.
Jonathan, anything else for this particular project?
No.
And Emily, I keep losing you. So Emily, do you
Nothing
have
else
any
for
other?
me. No, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have anything else for special conditions. I think this is pretty complete. If do you have any, so Jan, anyone from the public raising their hand?
No one from the public.
Okay, thank you. And back to the applicant, do you have any questions on any of these other special conditions that we just went through?
no,
No.
those are all very
Sorry.
reasonable.
Yeah, and we do not per se review the SWIP plan. We just like to have it on record for site visits to know what is in the SWIP. So,
Sure, no problem.
okay. Jan, one last call for Anyone in the public?
Nothing from the public.
Okay, great. All right. So we have the Graves letter completed and everything satisfied. We have the special conditions as read by Leah. Do I have a motion to close the hearing and issue the order of conditions with the conditions just discussed?
I'll move to close the hearing and issue order of conditions with the special conditions discussed for 8 Millennium Drive.
Do I have a second?
Second that.
So I have a motion and a second. Roll call vote. Travis,
Yes.
Emily,
Yes.
Jonathan.
Yes.
I am also a yes. The motion carries. Good luck with the projects.
Fantastic. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
All right, Leah, I see a couple of continuances. Do we have anything else that we're going to, oh, we have 4 Hudson, right?
And 62 Wesson.
Okay. All right. Okay. So let's do 62 Wesson and let me just bring up my lead sheet. You're going to totally mess me up by jumping around, you know. I'm going to be so screwed up. Okay. All right. Pursuant to the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, Grafton, excuse me. Pursuant to the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, Grafton Stormwater Management Bylaw, Grafton Wetlands Protection Bylaw, Conservation Commission hold public hearing to act upon notice of intents for lots 2 and 3, and application for Grafton Stormwater Bylaw permits 1, 2, and 3, and application for Grafton's Wetlands Bylaw permits 2 and 3 for the construction of single-family houses at lots 1, 2, and 3 at 62 Wesson Street. And Norm, you here to discuss it?
Yes, good evening. Good evening. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you just fine, but you have a very nice blue shirt on, and that's the only thing we can see.
Oh,
Just, just in case you want to.
all right. Yeah, I must have put my handsome face up there too, then. Okay. Sorry about that. So,
It's not a problem.
so let's talk about lot 1 first. So lot 1 is not within 100 feet of the wetlands. It's uphill. It's the highest of the 3 lots. And since we were last here, the planning board issued a permit for a scenic road curb cut, and we've revised this plan. We revised this plan to label the limit of disturbance. We revised the plan to put the UNH porous pavement under the entire driveway. And we moved the stockpile area up on that little turnaround area for the future driveway. I'd like to also point out that the roof runoff is going to go into an infiltrator located behind the house. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have.
Okay, so Norm, we're looking at lot 1 at this time.
Yes, yes. So it's not a notice of intent. It was just a stormwater permit because these 3 lots combined triggered stormwater permit. Well,
Okay.
a requirement for stormwater permit. We had to do that for this lot. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for that. Leah, I know that you have, gone through this and you've got some special conditions. How are we going to apply those special conditions to each lot or to all 3 of these? Just trying to make sure that we're consistent in how we do it.
Sure. So I think the 5 that I have written apply to all 3 lots. 4 of the conditions are about porous pavement, and that's across all 3 lots. And the 5th, we do need to talk through a bit, but it has to do with how some areas on the lots are gonna be preserved as meadow. And I looked in the stormwater report after we talked last time, and that specifically calls out the different cover types, grass, woods, and meadow. So we do need to do like signage and a barrier of some kind to preserve those as meadow so that the stormwater calcs stand. So I think if you want to talk through all 3 and then go through the conditions after that, I think they all fit.
Yeah. Norm, would you like to do that just so we
That's
talk the
fine.
conditions once? Okay.
That's fine. Would you like to go on to lots two?
Yes,
Lot two?
please. Yep.
Oh, okay, so lot two shares a driveway with lot three. Lot two has its own septic system. Lot three will be connected to town sewer. So on lot two, we revised the plans to reflect the UNH porous pavement. And we put the temporary stockpile way up the hill behind the house. And I think we put an infiltration unit to the left of the driveway to take the roof runoff from the house. So the driveway goes into the porous pavement and the stone underlayment. The roof goes into the infiltration system. We relabeled the disturbance area to limit of disturbance. And I believe that's the only change we've made on this lot. I think we've taken care of all of the comments. I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Okay. Quick around. Leah, do you have any comments on lot two? Just
No, the only comment I have across any is just that we have a waiver request.
okay. Yeah, you got that listed here. Travis, any comments on lot two?
Yeah, Leah, did you clarify what the conservation restricted area is? Is that an official conservation restriction that goes in the
think-
deed?
I think we touched on it last time. Norman wasn't sure who they would be looking to have hold the CR, but I think they do intend to put one in place. You can
Okay, so
correct
it's
me
an
if I'm
official.
wrong.
Okay, and I think it's applicable to lot 3, but
Yes, it'll affect all three lots. It's on the back of one, the back of two, and it's on a large portion of lot three. And the client would rather it not be a public easement, but just for members of the Conservation Commission going forward to walk in there and do an inspection, make sure that nothing's been cut, nothing's been built, no work's been done in that easement area. So that land would be preserved forever going forward. And we, as a condition, we would like you to list that as a condition that we will draw the easement on a recordable plan and record that at the Registry of Deeds and draw up the easement language that would get recorded also.
Okay. And I think having conservation restriction that is private or is not, open to the public with trails and stuff, I don't see any problem with that. I mean, that's the choice of the homeowner, right, Leah?
Correct.
Okay.
I guess
Alright.
my only follow-up, Leah, as long as, do we need to like make that a special condition?
I think we can, yeah.
I would agree with that. Just to outline it of what was discussed
Yeah,
at the
because
public
there's more
hearing.
that has to follow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the follow-up and what has to be done to
Yeah.
memorialize it and make it official for moving forward. Emily, any questions?
No questions, thank you.
And Jonathan,
No questions.
okay. Lot three?
So if I could go on to lot three requires, well, let me go through the minor changes first. So again, we have the porous pavement on that common driveway per UNH specifications. And we've labeled the limit of disturbance as such. And the big change on lot three was it connects the town sewer. If you scroll down on the plan, go out to the street, you'll see that the lot three is being connected to town sewer. And that existing sewer stub is very close to the wetlands. That sewer stub is about 35 feet from the edge of wet. And the DPW has recently paved this street, put a new top coat on the street, so they don't want our client to dig up Weston Street at all. So we're going to have to go down the shoulder of Weston Street, which puts us within 25 feet of that. You see that big blue wetland there? So that sewer line is going to come down on the south side of the driveway, all the way out to the street, and then took a left and go down the gutter and connect to that stub. So we've asked for a waiver to do that stub connection. We're going to be within 25 feet. That's the only place on this project where we're within 25 feet of the wets, but we have to be because they won't let us go into the street. I would estimate would be as close as 20 feet to that edge of wet with that trench. And we put siltation controls along the edge of the street to protect that wetland area from that proposed work. And I'll be happy to answer any questions you have on this lot.
So I have just one quick one. Obviously, once you put the sewer line in, you'll restore it. What's there now, and what are you going to restore it with? Like, is it wooded right now, or is it?
Well, on the edge of pavement there, there's a like a grassy, brushy shoulder, maybe 8 to 10 feet, and then you've got trees. But the first 8 to 10 feet, there's just a shoulder there. There were no trees in that shoulder, so that'd be where you would dig that ditch.
Okay. And you would just restore it to back whatever it is in the existing
Yes.
condition. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Travis, any questions on this?
Nope.
Jonathan, any questions?
Nope.
And Emily, any questions?
Nope, thank you.
Have anything to add, Leah, on this? This might just require a quick special condition that that it gets restored back to its existing condition or something.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I don't
have
know if it
anything else.
shows. I don't know if it shows directly. If that shows on your plans. Does it show the sewer line on your plans?
It
Just
does.
the one on the right. Just on
If
the
you
right.
go if you scroll up by the street, you'll see it. A little higher, a little higher, a little higher, a little higher. You go a little higher. There you go. There you can see that sewer line connecting to the stub, and you can see the dashed line representing the siltation controls.
Okay.
You can see that last sewer manhole. The stub comes off just before that sewer manhole.
Gotcha. And all right. I just want to make sure it just gets restored. Not that, I mean, it's the edge of the road and it's not going in wooded area. So, okay. So Leah, next thing is waiver for the no disturb.
Yes.
Okay. So do I have a motion to issue a waiver for work within the no disturb, and that work is for that sewer line? And that's it. No driveway or anything else within the 25.
That's correct.
So for the sewer line, yes.
I'll move to issue a waiver for work within the no disturb for the sewer line at 62 Weston Street.
Do we have a second?
Second,
I have a motion and a second. Roll call vote. Travis,
Yes.
Emily,
yes.
Jonathan,
Yes.
and I am also a yes. The motion carries. Okay. So that's taken care of. As far as the special conditions, Leah, you want to go through those just so that we can cover them all at once since they apply to all of them?
Sure. So as we discussed a few minutes ago, a CR is to be put in place on the areas as shown on these plans we're gonna approve. I'm gonna skip over my first one and come back to it. So these other four are all about the porous pavement. So we have prior to commencement of work, the porous pavement installer shall certify in a letter to the commission that they have at least 3 years of professional experience installing porous systems. The system shall be installed per the specs set forth by the UNH Stormwater Center. Upon completion, I shall be contacted to witness a test of the system to ensure it functions as designed. The test shall consist of pouring water on the system at a rate of 5 gallons per minute and measuring the distance the water spreads across the surface, as well as the rate of infiltration. Water should not spread farther than 5 feet. The test shall be performed in multiple locations. The system will also be inspected for smearing and other indicators of improper installation at that time. And then 2 ongoing conditions relating to the porous pavement. One is the porous system shall be maintained per UNH's Stormwater Center porous pavement guidelines, including vacuum sweeping 4 to 6 times a year, fall leaf debris being removed from the system. Sand shall not be applied Non-sodium based salt shall only be applied in hazardous conditions. Signs stating these prohibitions shall be installed to ensure notification to the proper parties. The other ongoing condition being, if additional development is proposed on site, which will result in a change of use or an increase in on-site traffic, the applicant or owner shall submit a plan for protection or replacement of the porous pavement system to the commission for approval. After completion of any new construction, the porous pavement system shall be retested by the applicant and witnessed by the agent as established in the condition above. At no point shall the porous pavement driveway be replaced with standard asphalt. And then the one to circle back to would be for signage and or a barrier to preserve the meadow areas, which I think we can best look at on the colored plan here. I believe it's the light green with the dots.
Okay. Norm, any questions on these special conditions?
Nope, that's fine.
Yeah, I've done the test before for porous pavement. If it's put in correctly, it's amazing how free flowing it is. So, questions there. I'll go quickly around. Does anyone else have any other conditions that they think should be added? Travis?
Nope. Thanks.
Emily
No, thank you.
and Jonathan?
Nope.
Yeah, I have nothing further. I mean, all of this is pretty out of standards. There are different references, but UNH has a really good porous pavement spec. So, all right. So we have the waiver voted on. We have that. I'll just put it out there for if anyone online here has any comments or questions regarding 62 Weston Street, please raise your hand. Otherwise, we're about to take a vote or make a motion first. But anything else, Leah, that we missed?
Nope.
All right. Can I have a motion to close the hearing? Issue the order of conditions with the conditions as discussed previously.
I'll move to close the hearing and issue order of conditions with the special conditions discussed tonight for 62 Weston Street.
Thank you.
yeah.
Second. Yes.
I just got a question about the stormwater permit also.
We'll issue that separately, Leah.
Okay.
I mean, in our motion, we kind of use the words order and permits interchangeably. So to me, it covers the whole thing, but we can call out that it's inclusive of lot 1.
Yeah, so we can show that as amended to include both the order of conditions under the wetlands protection local bylaw and under the stormwater. So good question. Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second,
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote. Emily,
yes.
Travis,
Yes.
Jonathan,
Yes.
and I am also a yes.
Thank you all very much. Thank you. Everyone stay well. Thank you.
You too. Next one up is 4 Hudson.
Yes.
Okay. Let me just go back to. Hudson. Okay. Pursuant to the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act and the Grafton Wetlands Protection Bylaw, the Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing to act upon a notice of intent application for Grafton Wetlands Bylaw for the construction of a single-family house and pool at 4 Hudson Ave. Who's here to discuss that?
I can talk about this.
Okay, you're up.
So we've made some very large revisions to this plan. We have moved the house and the pool and the garage
Okay.
about 25 feet further away from the brook. that's what's actually a river, I shouldn't say brook, it's a river. So we moved everything up the hill about 25 feet away. We've more than doubled the size of the suggested mitigation area. And we've provided a planting plan that shows the trees and bushes to be planted in that mitigation area. We labeled the limit of disturbance appropriately. And we've revised the location of the proposed siltation controls to be down near the river, because we have to do all that mitigation work. We had the erosion controls up higher near the house, but now we moved them down near the river. And so this has been reviewed by Arthur Allen, and we received a letter today. He seems to be happy with everything. I don't see any issues with this letter. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
All right. Thank you. Leah, want to just give an update on this, on your report?
Sure. As he said, all the ecotech comments have been satisfied. All of staff comments have been satisfied. The only thing I have left outstanding is for you guys to vote on the waiver request.
Okay, yeah, this is definitely a shift and a change to what was previously done. So it definitely responded to what our concerns were previously. So I appreciate that. I'll go around the commission to see if anyone else have any questions or comments. Travis?
No questions.
Okay. Emily?
No questions.
Jonathan?
Nope, nothing.
Okay. So next up would be for the waiver, Leah?
Yeah, so they have a waiver request to work within the no disturb for abandoning the existing well as well as the proposed restoration area.
Okay, great. Do I have a motion?
Sorry, I have a question now.
Sure.
If I could go back. So the no disturb sign, we haven't gotten to that, but is that going to the conservation line or the 25-foot no disturb?
I would put them right along the edge of the proposed mitigation area.
Okay. Because that's what it looks like. That extends beyond the 25-foot in some areas.
It does.
Okay. Thank you, Norm.
Yep.
Okay, back to you, Sandy.
Okay. So do I hear a motion to issue a waiver for work within the no disturb for the abandonment of the well?
I'll make a motion to issue a waiver for abandonment of the well and the restoration work.
All right, that's in the no disturb. So thank you very much. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote. Emily,
Yes.
Travis,
Yes.
Jonathan.
Yes.
I am also a yes. The motion carries. So, so as far as the conditions, you want to go through them, Leah, just so that we can have a quick discussion on those?
Sure. So no disturb signage shall be installed as shown on the plan, which is along the proposed tree line. I would also suggest a no disturb barrier as well. The mitigation area shall be monitored for 2 years post installation with any invasive species removed from the area. Additional disturbance beyond that approved here is prohibited on site. This includes patios, decks, garages, additions, etc. And any water discharged from the pool shall not be directed toward resource areas or buffer zones.
Leah, one quick question. When you say no additional disturbance beyond approved here, is that just within the riverfront? And I know most of the site is the riverfront, but is that
Yes, that is the impetus to that.
okay? So, but I just want to make sure we're clear that that specifically refers to the 200-foot riverfront, or does it? Are you saying for the whole site?
Where is the riverfront line, isn't it? I think it's the whole site.
Is it? I was looking at the different lines. I was trying to read them.
It's the whole site. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Then there we go. I couldn't quite see it. I was going through the different lines, so that's easy one. I just answered my own question. Thank you. Okay. Any discussion on these special conditions or any recommendations from or either changes or other ones? Travis, anything else on the conditions?
Nope, nothing for me.
Emily
Nothing for me.
and Jonathan.
Sorry, I lost the mute. Nothing from me.
All right, thanks. So, Leah, the only question I had, you talked about for the no disturb signage, which is our standard, but you also looking for a boundary. Is that, typical whatever the applicant wants? And so
Right.
Norm,
Yep. Our
Norm, you have,
usual, oh, sorry. Our
No, no.
usual, like either like a split rail fence, boulders, something, just to make sure it isn't lawn 3 years later.
Yeah, my client would accept all those conditions and the condition that he either install a split rail fence or boulders along that.
Yeah.
Along that mitigation area.
Yeah, as always, we're looking for a visual boundary. So once you decide that, if you could just submit that to Leah to make sure it's, something in
Okay.
that realm, just so that, we don't mind being flexible, but the intent is to make people think of why did they put this sign here, and hopefully they look
Yeah.
and find out why.
Yeah.
All right. So just reach out to the public if you have any questions or comments on this site. Please raise your hand and we'll give you an opportunity to ask those questions. As we wait for that, anything else other than close the hearing and issue the OCC?
That's all I have.
Okay. Jan, nothing from the public?
Nothing from the public.
All right. Do we have a motion to close the hearing and issue the order of conditions with the conditions as just discussed?
Sure, I'll move to close the hearing for 4 Hudson Avenue and issue order of conditions along with the special conditions discussed tonight.
All right. Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
So a motion, a second, roll call vote. Emily,
Yes.
Travis,
Yes.
Jonathan.
Yes.
All right. I am also a yes. The motion carries. And
Thank you all very much.
all right. Good luck with
Okay.
that.
Take care, everyone. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. We have a couple continuances, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So let me go back to the lead sheet. I'll just go to the first one that I come to. Okay, so this is 88 Worcester Street. So this will be for continuance. So pursuant to the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, the Grafton Wetlands Protection Bylaw, Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing to act upon a notice of intent application for Grafton Wetlands Bylaw permit for the removal of underground storage tanks at 88 Worcester Street. The applicant has requested a continuance to, oh my God, it's October. Wow, October 3rd. Sorry. It's just like, I can't believe it's almost there. Anyways, so they've requested a continuance to October 3rd. Do I have a motion for that?
I wasn't paying attention.
That's okay. So this is just a continuance for 88 Worcester Street and continues
Okay, there it
continuance
is.
to, October 3rd. I'm
Um,
sorry,
I'll
I
move
went off.
to-
Go ahead.
I'll move to continue the hearing for 88 Worcester Street
All right, and that's to October 3rd. Do I have a
to
second?
October 3rd.
Second.
A motion, a second, roll call vote. Travis,
Yes.
Emily,
Yes.
and Jonathan.
Yes.
I am also a yes. It's continued to October 3rd. All right. Let's roll on down. 85 Fitzpatrick's, correct, Leah?
Yep.
Okay, pursuant to the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act and the Grafton Wetlands Protection Bylaw, Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing to act upon a notice of intent application for Grafton Wetlands Bylaw permit for the construction of 2 wetland crossings to a single-family house at 85 Fitzpatrick Road. The applicant has requested a continuance to October 24th. Do I have a motion?
I'll move to continue the hearing for 85 Fitzpatrick Road to 10/24.
All right, do I have a second?
Yes, second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote. Emily,
Yes.
Jonathan,
Yes.
Travis.
Yes.
I am also a yes. The motion carries. All right. Did I miss any of them, or did we catch all the ones that are continued?
We're done with hearings.
Done with hearings. Moving on to a very important one action item.
Yep.
Did you have both August 8th and September 5th meeting minutes, or just?
Nope, not this time, just July 11. It was 3 hours worth, so.
Okay, no, because I looked at it and I only saw one, and I'm like, okay, all right. So, hopefully, folks will have an opportunity to have looked at the July 11th meeting minutes. If you have any comments, recommendations, questions, let us know. And if anyone does not have any comments or questions, do I have a motion to approve
Right.
the July? Oh, go ahead.
I have a procedural question. I wasn't in the July 11th meeting, so I stay out of this.
So it's a good question. So basically, when you review, my understanding, when you review meeting minutes, you're reviewing the minutes themselves. You're not saying, oh, I was there and this is right or wrong. You're reviewing the written document. So you can certainly do that. So if you
Okay.
have, like, if you read it and you weren't there and you read it and you had a question, well, that's good because you can ask the question and we can get clarified. Because again, this is the record moving forward. So, so you can vote on it. I will,
Okay.
as always, say it's up to you. If you don't feel comfortable doing it, you can recuse yourself. It's absolutely fine if you do that, but you don't need to.
Thank
So,
you.
Okay. So, do I have a motion to approve the July 11th, 2023 meeting minutes?
So motioned. So moved.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, roll call vote. Jonathan,
Yes.
Travis,
Yes.
Emily,
Yes, and very impressive, Leah.
Oh,
and
it's all Jan.
Oh, Jan,
yeah.
sorry.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. I slowed down about 3/4 of the way through, going like, really? Okay. And I am also a yes. So the motion passes, or the meeting minutes are approved. Whatever. So, okay. That's it.
That's it.
It's 8
Lightning
o'clock.
round.
It's 8
This
o'clock.
is
It's 8 o'clock.
Lovely.
All right. One last one. What's the last motion?
To adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion, a second to adjourn. Roll call. Travis,
Yes.
Jonathan,
Yes.
Emily.
Yes.
I'm also a yes. A pleasant change for the last few meetings. So